Hi everyone, welcome to this video. This is an opportunity for you where, however long you've been in this Enlightenment event journey, it's an opportunity to ground in where you are and then decide where you want to move forward from. So some of you have been here from the beginning, since February. Some of you have joined partway through. Of course, some people have actually joined and then left. So unless I put this on socials, there won't be an opportunity to see this video. But I really wanted it to be a chance for you to just connect to everything you've travelled through with this process, partly because we're moving into Whole-istic month, so we're really bringing it all together with Whole-istic month in July, but also because beyond that, you've then got opportunities to bring it into your life, into the world, into your experience of day-to-day, and then through September and October, we'll be doing a whistle-stop tour of all 6 themes across 6 weeks, so that you get that chance to reconnect again and remember again all of what we've experienced through this journey, which has been significant, phenomenal, large amounts of experiences and practical modalities and real life shifts. So so this is a bit of a I guess a kind of where have we been, where are we now, and where next. So I'm going to go through each of the months in turn. If you haven't been part of each of these months, then keep your eyes, I was going to say ears, hence going like this. Keep your eyes peeled, your ears pricked up, for anything that catches your attention that you think, actually, that feels like something that's right for me, because all of that previous content is still there. And the whole reason this journey has been designed the way it's been designed is so that at any point where you're like, actually, do you know what? I want to go and go back to that month or engage with that month for the first time, it's there and it's available for you. And you can then tailor that to your own needs. So you could do it exactly the same as we did it, with a week by week, this call, then this call, then this call. You might want to dive into it all at once and binge watch the whole thing in a week and then let it unravel. Or you might want to extend it and engage with it over a longer period of time. So while you're listening, keep your attention on either, oh yeah, we did something on that, I want to go back to it, or, I didn't know that was part of that month, I want to go and experience that. So that when we do come through to September and October, if you want to be part of that, then you've got that context. But also, fundamentally, so that you've been able to engage with the stuff that matters to you and your experience and your enlightenment journey, so that you get what you need right at the time that you want and need it. Therefore, creating that magical connection point, because it's always that thing of us and the modality and perhaps the person who's delivering it all coming together so beautifully, magically at the right time for you. That's when magic happens the most powerfully, the most effectively. So yes, so hold all that in your awareness as we move through this from February till now, 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. I'm going to just briefly recap each of those 5. And as I say, listen out for, oh, what's in that for me? What's that reminding me of that I could do with connecting or reconnecting with? So when we began back in February with Make It Visible, which I don't know about you, but to me feels like a million lifetimes ago, like so much has happened in this 5 months. So back in February, Make It Visible, we had Nikki and Claire as our experts that month. And our whole focus that month was about seeing how the world brings us opportunities to enlighten. Now, it's not really about what's happening in the world. It's very much about us recognizing our reactions or responses to the world. Because if I'm reacting to something out there, that's like a big neon sign saying, there's a thing, clear that thing, enlighten that thing. That's not the truth of who you are. That is misalignment right there, big neon sign. So anywhere that we're protecting anywhere that we're defending, anywhere that we're reacting against something or resisting something, all of those, anywhere that we're shrinking back, that's a protection move. Anywhere that we're out in reaction against, that's a defense move. All of these are pointing to what's in us, which does not remove the capacity to say yes or no. It's just that we have the capacity to say yes or no as a response, rather than as an emotional, fundamentally child reaction, which is not the helpful one. That's the one that has us feel heavy. That's the one that has us feel limited, that has us feel stuck, that has us repeat over and over again these same blooming loops. So Nikki invited us to connect to the golden thread, to see that that golden thread of our being really was there through our whole experience of life, and to allow that space as that into which we then become aware of the reactions, to kind of provide a grounding space for that to be experienced within. And we had Claire, who brings her wonderful way of helping us recognize these places. Claire has such a knack of really clearly identifying and sharing those places and those ways and those dynamics and those experiences that she brings your attention to, and then you go, oh my God, yeah, I'm doing that. I do that. I react like that. To see these really unfulfillable cycles of experience. So that through that process, it's like, here's some stuff, here's some stuff, here's some stuff. As you get eyes for it, you start to notice it. Sometimes we see it first in others, but as you get eyes for it, then you see, oh, there's another thing. Oh, there's another thing. Oh my God, it's that as well. So that we start to see all the places that these conditioned patterns are keeping us unenlightened and weightened and heavied, and which are available therefore for our liberation. These are amazing, amazing opportunities. These are gifts. These are doorways. These are portals. These are beautiful, as I say, big neon signs saying, hello, there's something over here to pay attention to. So that was what February was all about, really making visible all that is within us that is out of alignment, all within us that we're identifying with, which is not the truth of who we are and therefore feels out of alignment because we're in that reactive mode then. So then from there, we moved into March and psychological enlightenment with Amy Johnson and Grace Bell. And in psychological enlightenment, we're particularly looking at the psychological doorway. So here I've made some stuff visible now. I can now see there's a place where I'm reacting. Now what? And so March provided the psychological doorway to meet whatever it is that we're reacting, that's reacting within us. And so Amy did a brilliant session about looking at the nature of thought. So really stepping back from the content of thought and what the thought says, or indeed how it feels, because we established the different ways different people in the group experience thought. Not everybody has that narrative in the mind. So Amy helped us really connect to what even is a thought, to really question our experience as lived through thought versus lived absent of thought, to open the possibility of that thought process being a complete irrelevance, really, to being an overlay on top of experience which adds nothing. And then we moved with Grace into Byron Katie's The Work. And Grace so beautifully took one of the group through that process, guiding us, each able to do our own process alongside, but specifically guiding one of the group to see it played out for real. And oh my goodness, what a space of presence, what a space of quiet, what a space of settling that was, enabling these thoughts to come bubbling up to the surface. And when they bubble to the surface, they're made visible, which then allows us to question them so that we can, having made this conscious, having made this known, we can then go into inquiry with Katie's process to bust open the myths of the mind, to prove as untrue whatever the thought says. If you've ever tried that process, after a while, you might start to cotton on and go, none of these thoughts are true. But we have to have experienced it enough first. You can't borrow this from somebody. It's an experiential thing. And so that's what we experienced with Grace in March. And so beautifully, and this has happened every single month, as we were looking at the psychological, then people started going, but I've got these feelings. What about them? And of course, that was the obvious next step to make. Hence why April, we moved into emotional enlightenment. Because what happens, and in my way I see things, the way that I understand our experience to be, I see it that we have thoughts and feelings related together. They are the two sides of the one coin. If I think, well, they're an idiot and they shouldn't be doing that, then I'm going to feel the corresponding feeling to that thought. But prior to, beneath that noisy surface thought feeling experience is a deeper emotion, one which often we've been told we shouldn't experience. We have to resist, reject, push away. And so in March, we were moving into all of this. We were looking at feelings and emotions. I shared an amazing deep inquiry, which had a real big impact on a number of people who engaged with that. So as part of the opening call, that was one of the invitations I offered. Now that we've made something visible, perhaps now that we've inquired through the thinking, but the pattern is still there, this feeling and emotional pattern is still there, this escape into the thinking might have loosened and lightened in questioning the thinking, but there's still this feeling emotional thing going on. So I offered this inquiry that takes you through that very pathway from the doorway of the thinking, through the feelings, and down deeper into the core emotion, which has been decided at some point in our lives as wrong, unacceptable, not allowed, so that it can be met, so that it can be seen and felt, so that we can be with ourselves in that emotion, rather than what has been our traditional response, which has been to react and run away. And so that led then into Alona's session. No, it didn't. It led into Steph's session, where we did TRE, so trauma and tension release exercises, which gets shortened to TRE. And Steph, another beautiful, quiet, gentle presence, inviting us through that very simple but very powerful 20, 30 minutes maybe, wasn't it, of actually engaging in a TRE session. And the impact of that was phenomenal. Some of the group, and of course this whole journey is designed so that, you know, you get this pick and mix and you get to identify what really works for you. And for some of the group, wow, that was a huge impact. One group member found that shaking started happening very spontaneously after that. Another group member made it part of a regular practice. Others got that instant, oh, that feels so much better. Because we are designed to shake off. Yes, I have got Taylor Swift in my mind. We are designed to shake off tension after a challenging circumstance, but we've been conditioned away from that natural response. So Steph was showing us how we can proactively, purposefully, consciously create that shaking experience so that we can literally shake out that tension from our physical system and our emotional system. It loosens and lightens the emotions. So for some people, this in that loosening and lightening of the emotional system and the physical system, the emotions could then move more, which for some was really challenging. It brought up some big stuff, some tough stuff. And so perfection, that this was then followed by a loner session where we were meeting our emotional experience as it is. No agenda to change a thing, purely meeting it exactly as it is and getting into relationship with it, talking to it, having a conversation and seeing just how it unfolds. And Alona really beautifully guiding some of the members of the group through that process, really beautifully role modeling, but how that is available with a guide like Alona, or you with yourself, which again, some of the group was starting to be able to do. And I know for some has developed into some amazing realizations, some amazing releases of things that had been really stuck in the emotional system, really wanted love and attention, but had kept being ignored. Because when it's an emotion that's saying something like, I feel wrong, then of course that gets ignored. We think that's unacceptable. We think we can't be with that, but we can. And Alona showed that so beautifully in that session. And so I mentioned before with Steph's TRE, how it loosens the physical and the emotional. Steph's was absolutely one of the sessions which could have been in the emotional month or the physical month. But the perfection of this was that it led from Steph's TRE, loosening that system, shaking things off, into Alona's to be able to meet that emotional experience. So we had a really good grounding from that space of being able to meet ourselves as we are. So that then when we moved into physical month in May, we were able to meet these new modalities with Emily and Anna from that grounding. There was already a knowing of the okayness of all of my experience. And so we deepened into that with Emily and Anna. Emily bringing the connection to the voice, and Anna bringing the connection to the breath. And in fact, prior to that, in the opening call, I'd set the context of, again, shifting our relationship with the body, highlighting how it tends to just be ignored. It's this thing that we just take for granted and then get upset when it's not doing what we think it should do. And so I offered I think it was a 30-40 minute connected, deep, loving, relationship building meditation process, active meditative process, not sitting separate from the body, absolutely in connection, in full sensory connection with the body, to meet it and fall back in love with it. So that then when we came to Emily's session with the voice, she was showing how we can use toning, use vocal toning to connect to each of the chakras of the body, to help awaken, enliven, clear, loosen, lighten, moving through each of the chakras in turn. A very subtle process, a very seemingly innocuous activity, but which showed the places where there was a dullness or a stuckness or a not fully connectedness, and allowing that to be seen, allowing that to be brought into awareness and witnessed. And then we moved into our breathwork session with Anna, embodying breathwork, not transcendental, which is fine and has its place, but given we're in physical month, given we're talking about the whole human that we are, this was very much about bringing the breath into connection with the body. And Anna guided us in a gorgeous, again, meditative process, but one which was very much about bringing the breath in and really connecting it into the physical experience, really loosening and lightening the physical experience through the breath, breathing into the physical body rather than breathing to escape the physical body into a spiritual altered consciousness state. So a gorgeous month with physical enlightenment, really shifting our relationship with the body, which so often carries so much weight emotionally, let alone all the ideas we have about physical weight. But that's exactly part of it. To stop us being in that space of judgment and resistance and reaction and rejection of the body. Because if you've ever been in that space, like, what does it achieve other than inner upset, inner suffering, and a body that most likely doesn't change? Not really, not in the long term. So it was a really, really important month so that we shift that relationship with the body. Such a valuable part of our experience. As I'd said in the opening call, literally our channel, our connection machinery, the mechanism that connects us to the spiritual, and therefore allows us to enact the spiritual as a human in the physical world. And hence it moved beautifully into June with Spiritual Enlightenment Month. And here we have Sarah Priestley with the direct path of awakening and Nicola Lipscomb with the progressive path. So both of which are valid paths which often intertwine in somebody's journey. It's very, very rare, I think. Certainly I've not met many people who have literally had one path or the other. Most people seem to have some of both and lean on one or the other as and when the time is appropriate for that for them. So it's been wonderful to have the context from Sarah with the very, very practical, very simple, very clear invitation to see the truth of who we are, showing just how ordinary and just how obvious it really is. There's not some far off place to get to. There's not some special state to be in. Of course, that's all available. You can do whatever you like to alter your state of consciousness and have weird, trippy experiences. But in truth, awakening is so very ordinary and yet flowers into such beautiful human experiences. So Sarah really showed that simplicity, that everydayness, that ordinariness of awakening, to show just how available and accessible it really is to be empowered in your own awakening. And then Nicola brought us the progressive path. For her, it's been a meditative journey, a contemplative journey. And she showed how she would often use this hand movement to show that her journey has been in and down. So rather than the direct path, which is like kind of up and out, let's look to before the human experience, which is a valid path, to see who I am, who and what I am prior to the body, prior to the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions of the body. And then Nicola's has been an inward and downward path into the body, being present with the body, which then opens up into the spiritual being. Because this is the cool thing. It doesn't matter which road we take, we end up home wherever we go, because it is everything. There is nowhere we can go. There is nothing we can do. There is no one we can be with that isn't spiritual. It is all of this. So whichever way we go, it's spiritual. It just really helps to do it consciously and to know what it is you're doing, to know why what you're doing is supporting you more consciously be that spiritual self, which we truly are. And so Nicola had some amazing little activities for us to do, very simple again, very easy, very accessible to connect with at any time, to show that experience of softening and surrendering into silence, into the stillness. And a really lovely extended guided meditation, again, to support all that softening and that surrendering into that space of our spiritual nature. It's every time we do that, we ground more and more, knowing that that is our foundation. That is our ground of being, from which we then have a physical body experience, within which we experience emotions and feelings, and within which we experience thoughts at the level of psychological. So that the whole thing comes together. Hence why now, for July, we are moving into Whole-istic month. Whole-istic month. Because you are a whole human. You are the wholeness of all of this. At a spiritual level, there is nothing in this human experience or this worldly experience that is not you. This is already wholeness appearing as all of this. And then at a human level, you are already the wholeness of all the good bits and all the bad bits, of all the alignment and all the misalignment, of all the beautiful identities you've collected and all the negative struggling identities you've collected. You are the delights and you are the suffering. All of it is here within this human experience, available for us. And so the instant we've ever resisted, rejected, pushed away, suppressed, denied, hidden, any of that, if we've denied our spiritual, we suffer. If we deny any aspect of our human, we suffer. And so this holistic month is so much about the wholeness of you, who you are in your essence and who you are as a human. And we have Imogen and Heather coming as our experts for this month. So Imogen Sita Weber, who offers amazing divine light transmissions, really incredible, powerful divine light transmissions. And she'll be talking to us about those, what they are, why they work, what their purpose is. But they are absolutely a modality that we could never have really separated into one of the previous 5. It is absolutely holistic. It's why I first went to transmissions, because it was like, there's some stuff here I just cannot get to another way. I need something that's going to soak into the whole system. I need something that's going to reach those places that I can't reach through a psychological, emotional, or physical modality, even a spiritual modality. There was nothing else at that point I could see about our spiritual nature. I'd reached the end of that road. I needed something that was going to soak into the whole system. And as my person who offered me transmissions said, it is like water going into the basement of the house. You know, water will just naturally flow to all the places that it needs to flow. Nothing will stop it. It just goes there, it meets the dark corners, and it brings that amazing light to those corners, so that the whole of you is literally enlightened. And divine light transmissions are an amazing way to do that. And then we have Heather Egginton, who is an amazing activating guide and coach and support for people on their journeys. She is going to be igniting the fire within, helping everybody in the group connect to their inner fires, some of which might already be roaring, some of which might be lit, little flickering, just beginnings, some of which might not be lit. Again, meeting it all as it is, but in the guidance and presence of Heather, who is an embodiment of freedom, an embodiment of aliveness, of living the fullness of who we are. That then gets ignited in others. The fires that burn within her soul ignite the fires in yours. We are all mirrors for each other. We're all here to remember within ourselves. But the beauty of the outside world is that representation of what is in us. And so Heather is that, and will be that for this group this month, to be that physical representation of what we know really truly is in us. But when we've forgotten it, it's really hard to see. And so having physical representations like Heather help us remember and go, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that fire in me. I remember that lit upness. And so we reignite through that mirroring, through that remembrance, through that activation, so that the whole of you is included, the whole of you exactly as you are, which is exactly the space from which then you live and act and be the aligned expression of who you are here to be as this person right now in this world. So thank you so much for watching and following this journey, this incredible journey we've been on for the last 5 months. We're now tipping in July into our 6th month. And if that sounds like the month for you, I'd love to see you there. If one of those previous months is something for you to connect or reconnect with, then I'd love to see you there too. It's all in the same space. We're all in there together, including all the experts who've been part of that process. If this has raised questions for you, wonderings for you, maybe you're debating, maybe there's an absence of clarity. And oh my goodness, clarity is so important to me. Your clarity is so important to me. So if there's anything that you're doubtful about, that you're uncertain about, that you have question marks about, please get in touch. I don't mind whether you join or don't. I would love it if you do, of course, but I only want you to be joining if it's so right for you. And so if I can help you reach that clarity where you go, yes, this is so right for me, then I would love to help you with that. And if that clarity is, no, this isn't for me right now, then I would love to help you with that too, because that also then points you towards what's next for you in your journey. So thank you. Thank you to all of you who've been here for however long you've been here. Thank you to everybody who's going to come forward with us into July and beyond. And thank you to everybody for whom this journey is complete right now and who is going to be heading off into the beautiful wild blue yonder of whatever that brings for you. Big love, much love, and thanks so much. Take care.